Welcome back. We are here for another edition of Tech Tuesday. It is episode 9, and today we want to take a look at Google Classroom, and in particular, we want to look at uh, a newer set of features in the last couple of years that allows us to create a calendar accessible for parents. And then also look at ways we can navigate this for students. So we know that students are busy, we know that teachers are busy, but we also know that the more structure and organization we can help provide for students, the better off they're going to be. So we're going to dive right in and take a look at what we need to explore in this episode of Tech Tuesday. We are going to want to take a look at the Google Classroom ecosystem and show you perhaps, or help you show students the different ways they can organize themselves and the different calendar options that are available for them. Also look at the process and understand the process of sharing that classroom calendar with parents as an informative and intervention tool. And then we want to take a look at the resources that we've put together that you can share with students to make sure that they have an understanding of the calendar tools and the process. So let's dive right in and let's take a look at this in action as we see it in the Google Classroom ecosystem. All right, so we are now in our Google Classroom, and in this case, you're seeing the classes that I teach, but it looks very similar to what students are going to see, but this is also a way for you to look at it here. There's a number of different ways. We can actually go into our specific classes in particular, but a lot of this stuff maybe students already know or you know as well. Might be just a good refresher. But if we click on the hamburger icon up in the upper left hand corner and we go to calendar, this is now where we can see a week at a glance. And if we have multiple classes, they'd be shaded differently. But this information then is available to students and they can navigate. Notice it says all classes. You could isolate just one class at a time to be able to look at that. But this is a little bit of a way for them to see this. Now, one little downfall is it's only a week at a time. There is no way to go to see a month at a time in this view. But let's take a look at a couple of other things. If we look at the to-do list, this is one way to see everything, more of a global perspective on what is to do. Looks a little different for students because that's review or to be reviewed, but there is a way then for us to see kind of that total list. So if we look over here and we would click view all, it's going to get us to that same information. The other thing we can do is we can go to the About tab, and if we go to the About tab and click Classroom Calendar, it gets us back to that view. But notice we're only looking at the ACT prep class or whatever class it was that we clicked in from to be able to see that. So that's one way to look at that. The other way that we can have students access this is by clicking About. They can click Google Calendar. And when clicking Google Calendar, then they can go directly into what maybe they might be more familiar with in a calendar kind of program. And this is going to be an important step for us in terms of our own classes and sharing some of this information that we can then share with parents. So one of the things that is a little bit of a disadvantage to Google Classroom as a platform is our relative difficulty in adding parents and giving parents access to our LMS through Google Classroom. Now, a real easy and simple workaround is to share the calendar with them. And so we can do that from this point. So now that we are in our Google Classroom, Google Calendar, we can do a number of different things to help parents out. Like I mentioned, it's harder to add parents into the system than it needs to be, but this is a real easy workaround in terms of at least sharing the calendar with our parents in our classes, and this way they then can have access to the calendar and the due dates and the different things like that. So, what they would see, once they get the calendar, if they were to click on the actual assignment, or the actual piece, they're going to see that information that's already included in the Google Classroom. So It's a real easy way for us to link our parents into that system. So in order to do that, in order to give parents access to that, we got to get to this point, and once we're here, we're going to look at our particular calendar that we want to share, and we're going to click that little menu drop down arrow, and once we get there, we're going to go to share this calendar. And so when we click on share this calendar, we're going to find here this window. We're going to share this calendar with others. And what you're going to have to do then is check the box that says make this calendar public. So if they don't, you'll notice if we share this calendar with everybody in Shawnee Mission, the only people that access it or we grant access to it then would be with a Shawnee Mission account. Parents are not likely going to have that, so we have to make this calendar public. And if you look here, see all of the event details. That's going to be important so they can see the content that we've created within Google Classroom for their students in order to do this. So once we have shared this calendar and made it public, we click Save. There's a little bit of a warning that says, making it public will make it visible. We're going to be sharing that link with people. It's really going to be very difficult for others to navigate to it, if not impossible. We're just going to be sharing that link. So we're going to click Yes for that. And now it's public. And when we go then to this drop-down menu, and we can then go to Calendar Settings. So we've given permission to share this calendar, but now we got to get the link that we can share with parents. And so we're going to click Calendar Settings, and here in Calendar Settings now, you're going to go down and scroll to where it says Calendar Address. And if you click on HTML, this is now going to be the link that you're going to, copy link address, and you're going to put on your website, or you're going to email it directly to all of your parents. But this then is the link that they're going to have to click on in order to get access into that calendar. So that will give them the information that they could get in the Google Classroom, but now you just have to do one set of communications out to parents, and then they can get that information through that link. Now, if you do have a website, and you want to embed the calendar for that class on your classroom website, maybe you just use Google Calendar as an LMS, turning in, maybe you don't use it as full capability, but you've created a website, and maybe parents have access to this, and this is something that you want them to go to. If we look at this section called Embed This Calendar, you might have a way to embed that, in Weebly or EduBlogs or Blogger or different kinds of website creating programs. What you would do is you would take this entire embed code and you would then copy and then paste that. Now you can change the color and the size options. This will allow you to kind of fiddle around with this if you want to change the width, or if you want to change the height, or you can choose which calendars you want to display. You can display multiple. You can change a number of these different features, and then when you change that, this is your embed code that you would then include on your particular website. So there are a number of different ways that we can share this information. The easiest way is to take the HTML address and then save that in an email and send that, or you can get this code and embed that calendar directly into your website. The last bit of information I want to walk through is just a quick glance at a set of PDFs that you can share with students in order to help them access the Google Classroom Calendar. This is exactly what we walked through here a moment ago. But this puts the information on paper. You can email this. Looks at a number of different ways that students can get to the classroom and a number of different views that they can see, as well as the piece getting them into the Google Calendar. If they want to integrate this into their phone or tablet, there's a tiny URL or a QR code that they can scan that will take them directly to a Google Help site that will walk them through how they can integrate that into their devices. So lots of different ways that we can communicate this information to students and to families in order to help students with this organizational piece as they navigate the day-to-day challenges that high school kind of throws at them. So I hope this little set of resources gives you a little bit of a sense of how we can partner with parents, students, and our community through these calendar and organization pieces in Google Classroom. I hope that was pretty straightforward and gives you a sense of some resources that we can use in maybe new or different ways to help students and families with that organizational piece in Google Classroom. Again, it's not always as easy to include parents in on a Google Classroom, but if you share that calendar and share that calendar link with them or embed it into your website, hopefully then we can allow students and parents to see and partner with us more effectively. So again, hopefully we had a chance to look at this Google Classroom ecosystem. It's always helpful if we are all on the same page, and how powerful would it be if everybody had a Google Classroom and everybody was using the assigned calendar features and all of this organization could help us out. We know we're not there, but it would be awesome if we could be, because these tools would then integrate fully with every student in that ecosystem. But hopefully this gives you a chance to understand that process of sharing the calendar with parents as an intervention tool as well as information. And hopefully these PDFs that I'm attaching to the email will be helpful to share with students so that they have an understanding of it. Well, that's it for now, and I hope that you have a wonderful, wonderful week. Thanks for tuning in to this edition of Tech Tuesday. We'll talk soon.